The Babylon Project podcast was our last best hope for reruns. It failed. But in the year of the Shadow War, it became something greater. Our last best hope for fandom. The year is 2017. The place, the Babylon Project podcast.
This is Maggie Egan, your ISN news anchor, and you're listening to the Babylon Project podcast. Thanks for listening.
Hi there, Babylon 5 fans. This is Raul and Jim Arrowwood with a long-delayed and much-missed episode of the Babylon Project. No. Actually, I can't say that, can I?
Yes.
I have to say the Parsec-nominated Babylon Project podcast. How are you tonight, my good friend?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I got that email from you. Wow.
Yeah, we still have a few hoops to jump through, but that's really neat.
Theoretically, by the time this episode hits our fans, those hoops will be jumped through, I hope.
Yes, they better be.
You'll be hearing more from us about it, I guess, because this is fan voted, correct?
Yeah, I believe it is.
But we'll give you more details. I at this point, where there's no gag or anything on our part, so we're free to talk about it anyway.
Right.
But it was just a total. I was totally blown away.
Yeah.
And
me too.
It was done at a time when I really needed it.
Yeah, I almost deleted the email without even reading it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I came real close, and then I didn't.
Wow. Well, sir. What episode are we talking about tonight?
Tonight we are going to look closely at Convictions.
Convictions.
Yes. Season 3, Episode 2.
Yep. Now, this episode is really one of the few Season 3 episodes that really is just a standalone one-off episode, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, It is kind of. There are implications for the future, for the near future.
Mm-hmm. Just coming into season 3, and well, the second episode at least. Like I said, it's kind of a standalone.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, there's some introduction, more just in learning a little more about characters, a little bit of character development. A little bit of episode reset as far as some of the characters are concerned. And if you've seen the entire series already, there's some interesting foreshadowing and interesting contrast that might be worth making at points.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, probably the best place to start would be with a synopsis, sir.
Okay, here we go.
Archive. Access. Initiated.
When a series of explosions happen on Babylon 5, tensions rise and everyone tries to find out who is doing it and why. A group of human monks who are interviewing the numerous races' representatives on the station, but are also quite adept on the use of computers and deductive reasoning, use their skills to learn that a violent drifter named Robert Carlson is responsible for the bombings. Apparently, Carlson has been traumatized by the loss of his wife and his livelihood, and bombing is his way of getting back at those he deems responsible. When Sheridan confronts the perpetrator, Carlson is holding a dead man's switch. that if he lets go of will detonate a device that has been attached to the station's main reactor, resulting in the destruction of the station and everyone on board. When Carlson explains what the dead man switch is for, Garibaldi is listening in. While Sheridan buys him time, Garibaldi is able to locate the explosive device and jettison it from the station. In a struggle between Sheridan and Carlson, the device detonates harmlessly outside of Babylon 5. One of Carlson's bombs detonates as Lanier waits for the arrival of Delenn from Menbar. It also happens that Londo is coming through the same hatch as Delenn. Delenn is clear of the explosion, but Lanier realizes that Londo is not clear and saves him, and then Lanier is severely injured himself by the blast and taken to med lab for treatment. After Lanier is treated and stabilized, Londo sits with him and talks to him because he knows that is what Lanier would have done for him had their positions been reversed. Lanier returns to consciousness in time to deliver the punchline of a joke that Londo is telling. Later, Londo and G'kar are trapped together in a transport tube when another of Carlson's devices detonates. G'kar refuses to help Londo escape because G'kar would like to see Londo dead, but is prevented from taking any overt action against him because of severe penalties imposed by the Centauri. As the two argue back and forth, Londo tries to remind G'kar that he too will die if he doesn't help. And G'kar tells Londo that he will be satisfied just watching Londo go before him. Much to G'kar's disappointment, the pair are eventually rescued. Well, there it is.
Oh, there it definitely is.
Character, files, opened.
Like I said, it was more or less a one-off in a lot of ways. I mean, really standalone, because it really didn't impact the Shadow War that we're seeing develop or anything else. But it does help us get a move back into the season. It's not a huge guest cast either.
No.
So why don't we go ahead and take that? It's really, well, one of the quote guest cast is sort of a recurring character, in fact. So, who do we have?
Well, we start out with Patrick Kilpatrick playing Robert Carlson, the Mad Bomber. And we can find him in Toxic Avenger, Remo Williams, Tales from the Dark Side, Something Is Out There, Lois and Clark, Time Cop. He was on an episode of Deep Space Nine, one of my favorite ones, AR-558. That's where Nog gets injured. He was in Voyager, X-Files, Roswell, Minority Report. That's probably the most recent. Terminator, Sarah Connor Chronicles.
I remember
Chuck.
that.
Yep, and he has numerous projects in pre and post production right now. I'll tell you what, I can't seem to get my tongue untangled. But at any rate,
it's almost like he's a professional bad guy.
Yeah, he's been around a lot,
and it seems that he gets a lot of the bad guy roles.
Well, yeah, and when you watch the episode, you can certainly understand why.
Which probably means he is an absolute teddy bear in real life.
More than likely.
That seems to be a trend out there. If anyone out in our audience knows or has seen him at a convention or anything like that, let us know. And who else do we have? This guy's a show favorite.
Yeah, Louis Turenne as Brother Theo, who previously appeared as Drawl. He's in 5 total appearances on Babylon 5, and you know, it's something that always amazes me about some of these characters that only appear on 1 or 2 episodes. They make such a large impact.
Yeah.
That when you look it up and you see only 5 episodes, it's almost hard to believe that they were only in 5 for the impact they made.
He's one that I really wish we could have seen more of, actually.
Oh Oh yeah. Well, he endears himself quite quickly. He was also in Galactica 1980 and The Incredible Hulk.
Now, I don't remember where I saw this, but my understanding is he's less of a screen actor and more of a stage actor.
Yeah, I think so.
And the way he carries himself and just the way he throws himself into the character, it's easily believed. I know he's played Merlin in Camelot, for example.
Yeah, well, the way he delivers lines too, you can see he's classically trained.
Oh yes, yeah, which is which is sort of a habit for the show. They pull in a lot of exceptional talent that has that kind of training.
Yeah, and it makes it a lot of fun to watch. Another character played by Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, who plays Morishi, who is assisting Garibaldi on the investigation for the bomber. He's been around a lot of things. He's been in MacGyver. He was in the Star Trek Next Generation pilot, Alien Nation, Space Rangers, Planet of the Apes 2008, and most recently, The Man in the High Castle, which is one of my favorite things. If you haven't seen
I have seen part of it, the first several episodes of it. I have to finish it. I absolutely have to finish it.
Well, Mr. Tagawa appears very frequently in the second season. As the he's in there a lot as the Japanese trade minister.
I've made it far enough into the first season to see him. There's actually a second season.
Yes.
But so it goes beyond P.K. Dick's book at that point then, or?
Yeah, it does. It's great.
How does that
absolutely work? Great. The only problem with Man in the High Castle is that especially if you binge watch it, for the next several days, you will have the song Edelweiss playing in your head over and over again.
Oh, yeah, just from the opening credits.
Which has happened to me. But, however, this is not the Man in the High Castle podcast.
Sorry, Wayne.
Yeah.
I don't think I've still really talked to Wayne Henderson about that one. I'm surprised now, because I don't think he did. I'm surprised he hasn't put out a mini show just on that series.
Yeah.
One of our friends, common friends, folks, is a gentleman by the name of Wayne Henderson, and if he touches it, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, he does a great job.
He's got his Doctor Who podcast going now, I believe, too. Just cheap and free plug. Well, that is our main cast. However, there's sort of a special cameo to mention, I think, right?
Yeah. Under featuring, we have John C. Flynn listed as Obnoxious Man, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what...
Well, he's in the Babylon 5 credits a whole lot. This is his only screen appearance.
Actually, 2.
No, 2?
Mm-hmm. He's a cinematographer on 30 Babylon 5 episodes.
Right.
He directed 9 episodes. And he was director of photography on 3 Babylon 5 movies.
So we see a lot of we see a lot of his work. We just don't see a lot of him
behind the scenes, but he appeared in 2 episodes, this being one of them, of course.
And I guess we should, as long as we're talking John C. Flynn, he really doesn't make an appearance on the show, but perhaps a honorable mention might be due to John Netter.
Oh, we'll get there.
All right.
We'll get there.
Initiating plot analysis.
Well, actually, I think we are at the point of beginning to get there.
Yep.
Because the episode's opening, and people are coming in. You notice that a lot of our episodes seem to start at the docking bay with people coming on board.
Yeah, well, that's probably the easiest way to get a new character involved.
Yep.
This time they're coming for religious reasons.
Experiences, yes. Poke, poke, poke. You gotta love the Drazi.
Yeah, they see Zach there. They're talking to him, and they're poking him, and Zach's not real happy about it. But it's a blessing or something, isn't it?
Yeah, they're sharing his blessing.
Ah, he's blessed to be on the station, so they want to share in that.
Yep. and he very cleverly directs them toward a plant. I will say this: seeing all the pokes kind of put some grr regarding Facebook in me.
Oh,
one of the surest ways of getting yourself blocked from me or banned from me on Facebook is to send me pokes.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. I get them every now and then, but
yeah, I periodically put up a little warning. Don't poke me. Don't send me anything that is heartwarming, has puppies or kittens. And whatever you do, do not send me little games. I will ban you from my account forever for those things.
Okay. Should we get back to our show? Or are we going to turn this into the Facebook bot? No, I'm just kidding.
No. Well, actually, what I was doing was a setup, you see. Because Susan's getting these weird messages. Chaos is coming.
Oh, boy.
Anonymous messages. And chaos certainly is coming because we get some boom today. Down below.
Boom down below. Lots of boom. It seemed like there were a lot of explosions there, more than just one, but
and that seems to set us up for the episode. Except, well, as long as we're down in the docking bay, Zach's got another religious entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Brother Theo.
Yeah, and Zach's expression is like, oh boy. Now what?
Yeah. But you're gonna, if you haven't fallen in love with him yet, you're gonna love Brother Theo.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Now, regarding the explosion, though,
things get a little serious now.
Yep, we find out that there are 4 dead from the explosion. We don't know the source of it yet or the reason behind it, but Garibaldi is not going to rule out a bomb.
And we know that Garibaldi is not going to rule anything out until he knows absolutely what is going on.
He's going to follow the evidence wherever the evidence goes.
Always.
Yes. Well, getting back to Brother Theo, it turns out that his body of monks are coming aboard as permanent residents.
Yep. And he, the guy is kind of a bit of a smart arse.
Yep. I will tell you what, though. The first part of my collegiate training was at St. Louis University, and I had a few Jesuits. They were total crack-ups. They were hilarious, but they definitely seemed to have a bit of Theo's attitude, sense of humor. Straczynski caught the mindset fantastic.
Well, something else, though, that's really neat here is Brother Theo and his group is open to other ideas. They're not narrow-minded and saying we're right and everybody else is wrong, which quite often happens and has caused a lot of wars and strife and bloodshed over the centuries. But Brother Theo's order wants to learn about other people's views.
God's revelation. Yeah, he wants to learn about God's revelation on other worlds. And he's not denying or rejecting anything that is considered, principle Christian orthodoxy.
Oh, he's open to new learning.
In fact, he notes the similarity amongst the species of a single creator, and just some of the origin accounts.
Yeah.
So,
and in this particular group, his particular order seemed to have embraced technology.
But believe it or not, and there's some statistics about this. Some surveys, I believe, some Gallup surveys. This is, as you know, I tend toward being an apologist. The reality is a majority of scientists, I mean, it's not as far as people embracing technology also being believers, it's not that unusual. In fact, the majority actually tend to believe are theists of some sort, which probably would surprise a lot of people. But in this case, as you said, it's system analysts, scientists, engineers. Susan's a little skeptical, which is hardly a surprise.
Yeah.
But his reason, as you point out in our notes, his reasons for being there is completely logical.
Yes.
They're doing what they're told to do theologically as far as learning the nature of God in his entire creation. And just for the record, I believe the Catholic Church actually does have contingencies in place in the event of finding alien life. And their argument is that it does not necessarily negate anything in Christian doctrine. I haven't actually seen the arguments, but apparently that's my understanding. I found that out way back when. If you've ever read the book The Mote in God's Eye.
No, I've heard of it, but
Larry Niven, Jerry Pournelle. Awesome book. One of the people, I mean, they've got their own equivalent of Brother Theo, basically. And it's a first contact sort of situation. But great book. Anyway, his team is there and completely able to support himself, and he makes his case to Susan, and I think Theo can probably explain it best himself, right?
I believe so.
Brother Theo, I understand the idea, but we really don't want the aliens that come through here being harassed.
That is not our intent. We will simply be here for those who wish to talk and to listen.
We don't have a lot of space.
We'll live in what you call down below. We can pay for modest rooms. We're not used to fancy accommodations, a cot, a table.
I'm going to have a hard time justifying
We're
this whole thing.
prepared to earn our keep by providing services to others. I've chosen my companions carefully. They're highly sought-after experts in computer research, biogenetics, physics, chemistry, engineering.
With all due respect, if these people are so much in demand, why are they involved with this spiritual exchange program of yours?
They also believe.
You see what I mean about the delivery of those lines?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And like I said, that says it all.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, speaking of down below.
Yeah.
Bomb confirmed.
So we have something going on the station. We know not who, we know not why.
All we know is bomb. And we don't even know that much about the nature of the bomb yet.
Yeah.
Now we do hit back to a light. This is sort of a contrast between light and dark moments, actually. Because we hit back to another light moment with Lanier basically waiting for Delenn, and your comment or reference to our special appearance. Lanier, I say in my notes, Lanier with a drunk. I guess it's more Lanier with an obnoxious man.
Yeah. Oh, that's the way he's credited. Now, when I just watched the episode and I wasn't thinking about it or immersed in it, he came across as, yes, a drunk person just sitting there bothering somebody. But when I watched closer, he's obviously not drunk for real. he may be acting a little bit like it, but I
Uh-huh.
think he's just one of those kind of people that'll just sit down and talk with anybody.
It was priceless. I will say this: watching it, the one thought, especially on the rewatch, the one thought running through my head was, "Thank God this is on an incoming, not an outgoing."
Yeah.
Because my luck, and I have met travelers like that. My luck, I would be stuck next to that person on the plane. Actually, I've been sat next to those people like that on the plane before.
Oh, see, I don't fly enough to worry about it, so.
I don't anymore, but boy, headphones are your friend. Anyway, Lanier's response. Netter syndrome.
Yeah.
Also a reference to an exec producer.
Yep.
And that also totally priceless. You've got that exchange, I think, right?
Yep, I do.
Let's play it.
So I said, Sheila, I said, you change that vid channel one more time, and I'm out of here. You got it? Well, she did, I did, and here I am. You should have seen the look on her face, let me tell you. But it's great. I get to meet all kinds of people. I mean, look, me sitting next to you, I'm in Bari, us in that war and all. But I don't hold a grudge, no, sir. I say, live and let live. Look, I got hair, you got a bone. So, where you going?
Home. I have been diagnosed with Netter's syndrome. Since I have only 7 days to live, I thought I would return home to put my affairs in order before the end.
Netter syndrome? I've had a few sinners, but I've never heard of that one.
Neither had I. Apparently, it's passed by physical contact.
I gotta make a call.
I love it.
I will do penance later.
Oh, gosh. Like I said, priceless.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And as far as Membari not lying, I think this definitely falls into the category of saving face.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's got to do penance later, so I don't think he's really saved anybody anything. So,
well, he saved that guy the joys of making a greater idiot of himself.
So Lanier, he gets up because the transport that he's waiting for with Delenn is arriving.
Correct. And our light moment turns very dark very quick with another bomb.
Yep, more boom and lots of explosions, secondary explosions and things like that. Lanier, of course, he gets Delenn out of the way, and then he throws Londo.
He goes back in to save Londo.
Yeah, throws Londo through the hatch just as the door closes, and it hits him right square from behind and throws him face first into the door.
Yeah, and interesting contrast. I don't know if anyone's ever thought of this or caught it, but contrast this with a similar incident with Sheridan in season 5.
Ah.
Yeah, as far as Lanier's journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where that's where it takes a bit of a tragic turn.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind, folks. In about 2.5 more seasons or so, we'll be discussing that again.
Yep.
But this leaves Lanier in definitely in critical condition.
Yeah, he's being carted out, taken to med lab. It looks like he's already been put on oxygen. Probably would have actually been intubated had it been for real.
Yeah, amongst other things.
Delenn is alarmed.
One of the reasons for our delay is I had a very close 30-year-old cousin that we just buried from around the time shortly after I was taking these notes, with very similar injuries, though from a car accident rather than an explosion. So yeah, these are not good injuries. These are injuries you don't normally wake up from.
Mm-hmm. Londo is very, very concerned, more concerned about anybody than I've ever seen anyone before.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that becomes sort of a humanizing factor for him at a point where he really is going to need it.
Absolutely.
Now we do learn.
Absolutely.
Now we do learn the bomb appears to be targeting people, not making any particular statement, not targeting infrastructure, but it is just simply blow up people.
Yes, and they are all of the same type.
The bombs.
Yes.
The people, he's being pretty indiscriminate.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if it's lurkers and down below or ambassadors coming in through what you would think would be a secure location.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheridan's response is pure military as far as the way he locks down, but technically, at least, the station is a military, under a military command.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of to me, I thought it was more of a lightweight version of martial law.
Yeah. It's, and when you consider it, 250,000 mostly civilian population, that's sort of an in-between point there is probably what, or as most as you would be able to get away with.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't go overboard and completely ban anybody from gathering or things like that. All the measures he takes are for the safety of the people on board the station, and I thought it was very reasonable.
He's executing his commission, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, G'kar is blaming the Centauri, while Londo is blaming the Narn.
Yeah, go figure.
Yep. And I believe they both use the same word, irrational.
Yeah, so there's a lot
irrational.
There's still a lot of tension here, even though supposedly the Narn are under the thumb of the Centauri.
Mm-hmm.
And
the gist of it is, as Susan points out, the people are afraid.
Well, terrorism works.
Unfortunately. Now, the big task right now is trying to figure out what's the message the terrorist is trying to give.
Yeah, now this person, whomever it is not claiming responsibility, is not crowing about his
agenda.
Yeah, or anything like that. We just have bombs going off all over the place, scaring the crap out of everybody.
And just a warning that chaos was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and something that's just seems, completely random. It's not anything particular being targeted, except people, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
But as you said, Londo was sitting vigil over Lanier, talking a lot.
Yes, quite a bit.
I want to know, how did Bill Mumy keep a straight face through that monologue?
Yeah, or how many takes did it actually take to get through it?
Yeah, especially the how many Centauri to change the light bulb joke.
Oh, gosh.
How many Forlons does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know. How many Forlons does it take?
All of them. They are all Kosh.
All Kosh. Okay.
Sorry. All right.
Okay.
I can always fall back to singing.
No. That's quite all right. You can do stand up. You can do stand up. A very noble gesture though on Londo's part.
Like I said, it's a good time, a good point to take some of the edge, some of the strain off the character.
Mm-hmm.
Humanizes him a bit.
Well, it does, and the feeling that Londo is putting out is really palpable as you watch this scene, as though it were actually really happening and not just being acted.
Right.
So, Londo really, really has a lot of respect for Lanier, and I think the actors had a great deal of respect for each other.
Yeah, and just the character himself, what he's portraying in the character. And since we've got monks involved here, I can go ahead and there's a lot of religious connection aspects to it, but Londo doesn't. You can tell how conflicted he is as far as the path that he's following, and this will come up later when Lanier, obviously, he's going to recover, but when he recovers, Londo understands the idea he of grace in this part. He's being shown kindness or mercy that he absolutely does not deserve. So it's a good moment for the character.
Yes, it is.
It's a good moment in a story where that character is going to. It's a good moment in a story where that character is going to have fewer and fewer,
or more and more.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
And especially in season 5. A lot of people diss season 5. But in a way, I'm going to have to say this. In a way, it's almost like it goes full circle. In some ways, you can almost say Lanier and Londo kind of reverse. Because...
Somewhat, yes.
Yeah, Lanier's... And I mentioned the explosion with Sheridan and his response there.
Yeah. Well, before...
Compare that with Londo and his ultimate sacrifice.
Before Londo gets his watcher, he begins once again to endear himself to audiences again. He's gone down into the dark, and you look at how he's dressed. He's still in that black, very severe looking uniform, but now we have a hint that he may be turning around a little bit.
He climbs out of the dark only to descend again into the dark as a sacrifice for his people. And one could go as far as saying as a penance. Back into the show, though, we get back to the bombs. They're primitive, but they were able to trace the source of the explosives. Apparently, there's a molecular trace in all explosive, in commercial explosives. And they were able to trace that. So now they're tracing manifests, and they're wanting to run facial recognition based on the idea that the bombers, that a lot of these kind of terrorists, and that's what this is, just pure terrorism, like to watch the results of, if their goal is to create terror, they like to witness it. They like to see it.
And Garibaldi, when the facial recognition program is suggested, he just absolutely rejects it. He says there's no way. There's going to be people all over the place and blah, 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 and the back of people's heads.
Too complex.
A lot of supposition. But Susan has an answer.
Yep. She's got just the engineers for the tasks.
Oh, yeah. Send in the monks.
You got it. Now we get a short aside here with Londo having to leave on an errand, which becomes very important very soon. But in the meantime, Theo's people get right to work, and I love it. Brother Theo shushes Susan and gets away with it.
Probably one of the only people that could do that.
I think actually it is the only person to even think of getting away with that. Oh my.
But you don't mess with Brother Theo.
Nope. I think part of it is that in a lot of ways there's sort of a kindred spirit between the two.
Oh yeah.
It's filled in different ways, but they've both got kind of a thirst and hunger and just a touch of cynicism. Though his has been filled by his faith.
Yes.
Susan's actually Straczynski spends 4 seasons kicking hers around.
Yeah.
I think the only characters I've seen get dumped on, at least in our genre, I think the only characters I've seen get dumped on consistently worse than Susan is probably Fitzsimmons in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
Yep. Anyway, Londo is running on his errand, and guess who he finds himself in an elevator as a co-passenger.
Yeah. Well, and they're not going to speak to each other.
Nope.
They're just going to go where they're going to go.
But you know what's got to happen next, right? Even if you haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
Boom. More boom.
Kind of predictable. And we wind up with the two of them trapped together in an elevator.
Yep. Only in this case, it's an elevator that is in an area that has been blown out, and where parts of the area around it have been blown out. It's like you got a choice between cold space and hot fire.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and there is a fire on the outside of the lift too, because Londo burns himself a couple of times.
Yeah, one way or another, they're in really bad trouble, and I don't think I have seen G'kar that happy in a long time.
Oh gosh, yeah, he's just over the top.
Mm-hmm. Londo's been out 2 hours, and G'kar's just sitting there chuckling away.
Yeah.
Why is he so happy? Well, he gets to see Londo dead without 500 Narn being killed.
Yeah, because Londo says, hey, go ahead. You want to kill me? Kill me. And G'kar says, you know the rules. Now, I don't have to touch you. You're going to die, and I get to watch, and none of my people die.
Right. And Londo tries to get a little pushy about it, and G'kar's response is, I quote, "Up yours, die." It's just, I think one of the things I love about the two characters are the two actors, and when they actually get the times that they put them together alone to just play off of each other.
Yeah.
I think every single time it is magic.
Mm-hmm. But as far as Londo's concerned, the universe has played the ultimate joke on him.
Or so it would appear.
Yep.
Brother Theo works fast.
Yes.
They found
get right
the
suspect.
To work. Mm-hmm. Robert Carlson, right?
Robert Carlson.
It turns out that the guy is working on the station, which is why he's got access to some of those secure areas. We get a shortcut back to G'kar. Not many fishies left in the sea.
Okay, that's enough.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that alone is worth dying for.
Not many fishes but me.
But Londo and me.
Londo and me. Yeah, that's right.
We get back to tracing the bomber. They're beginning to take action, go after Carlson. The strike team is being charged to play it by the book, and there's a whole series of bang, 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 a bunch of flashbangs go off, basically, and it seems the book is being rewritten.
Mm-hmm.
But they do get communication with the bomber.
Yep.
And it seems that he's got another bomb that can take out the station.
Yeah. And Garibaldi finds out a lot about the guy. He's been a discipline problem on the job. He's not a very good worker. He's got a lot of personal issues.
Yeah, think?
Yeah. And this guy has built a bomb and attached it to the reactor core.
Yeah, though we don't know that yet.
Right.
Well, that's why he's not doing so good on the job. He's spending all of his time blowing people up.
Yeah, and building these devices.
Mm-hmm.
So
probably a terminating offense.
Yeah. Well, they have him cornered in his quarters. And Sheridan needs to get in and talk to this guy. And he's not to bring in any weapons or his link. And he's got to bring the link in so when when Carlson talks, that Garibaldi can hear where the bomb is located.
Sheridan's going to try and pump him for clues and just buy some time.
Yeah, so Garibaldi tells him to put his link where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, the link in the pants. You know, that is just so doomed to failure.
Oh, yeah.
Of all the things you could think of doing, it's like, okay, this has got to fail somehow.
Yeah. You stick it to your butt cheek. He's going to sit on it. He's going to get pushed over or something. It's going to, whatever. But I guess, what would...
Yeah.
It worked for a while.
Yep. I mean, Sheridan's in there. He's trying to buy time, trying to pump him for clues. Unfortunately, Carlson has, as you mentioned in your summary, he's got a dead man switch.
And nothing to lose.
Yeah, dead man switch and nothing to lose. He knows he's basically dead.
Yeah, and he's totally in control here at this point.
Yeah. Though he does make a comment as far as bright as the sun, that kind of ticks a little switch, a little flag in Garibaldi's mind. So he sends a team out to the fusion reactor.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, they go through the outside rather than take the transport tube, change to this, change to that, go through it's just suit up, thruster at full speed. You remember the station's 5 miles long, so
right.
You probably get up there a lot quicker going through the airlock and back in. So, and of course, if there is a bomb, they're going to have to get rid of it anyway.
Right.
But we get a little more thoughts from Carlson here.
Yeah, he's had a rotten life.
Yeah. People need to understand fear. It's like, who is he blaming for his rotten life? It sounds like pretty much everyone.
Everybody but himself, yeah. He's not taking any responsibility.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Life isn't fair. There's only two things you can be guaranteed to in life. That you're born and that you're going to die.
Oh, I thought it was pay taxes and die.
Well, if you're rich enough, you can avoid the taxes, it seems. And if you're poor enough, you can avoid the taxes. You only get screwed on the taxes if you're middle class.
Hey, that's me.
Me. But his idea is that people need to understand fear, and he wants an audience. So he's going to get payback for being walked on.
He's got a bit of an audience. He's got a little audience. He doesn't realize how much he has.
Mm-hmm. But as he considers it, it's nothing personal.
No. And Sheridan just wants to keep him talking.
Right now, at this point, it's, buying time.
So he doesn't drop that switch.
Yeah, because sure enough, they do find that bomb on the reactor core. And as you mentioned, it's a big one.
It is. I mean, when they first show it, it looks like, it might be 4 or 5 feet long or whatever, and maybe 1.5 feet around, and then a person gets up next to it. This is a big bomb.
This is a big bomb. And it's designed to blow through the fusion reactor.
Yeah.
Which is an even bigger bomb.
Yeah. It's going to be a big explosion if it goes down.
Right, so they're trying to get it moved to space as quickly as possible.
Yep, and then we get an oh crap moment.
Yeah, you remember that link in the pants? Have a seat, Sheridan.
Bleep, bleep.
Bleep. So Sheridan has your classic Hollywood fight while the bomb flies away, and more boom. But this is a safe boom.
Yeah, it's pretty dramatic, though, how he lets go of that switch, and it comes in about 4 different pieces and flies away, and Sheridan doesn't know that bomb's been disposed of. So
no, because right now he's doing the link one way, and when Carlson complains that it's not fair, I love Sheridan's response. Life is tough sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Yep, and God, before anyone grumps, this last 6 months has been, life is tough sometimes for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I still stand by my agreement with that comment.
Mm-hmm.
Even when the decisions aren't yours, the decision on how you respond is.
That's very true.
Well, they still haven't found Londo and G'kar.
Is anybody actually looking for them?
It seems to. It seems to be.
Ah.
But Delenn visits Lanier and Franklin. Franklin's back on duty with him. And, oh God, that stupid Centauri joke. How many Centauri does it take to change a light bulb?
Yep.
Well, that wakes Lanier up.
Yep.
We also find out that for his service, quote unquote, the Centauri want to give him a medal. He thinks he may have just been better off to stay in the coma for that.
Yeah.
Well, and there is a serious side of it. Sacrificing the future, as far as what, well, go ahead. Let's have Lanier's comments on this.
Okay.
Because it's worth discussing.
I heard a joke a little while ago. How many Centauri does it take to screw in a light bulb? Not just one. But in the great old days...
The great old days of the Republic, hundreds of servants would leap to change 1,000 bulbs at your slightest whim. Heard it.
Welcome back. How do you feel?
As though a great many heavy objects had fallen on me. But I suspect I will live.
I just spoke with Ambassador Malari a little while ago. He's most grateful for what you did. The Centaurum will probably want to give you a medal for this.
I should have stayed in the coma.
Come on, Lanier. You saved his life. You deserve a little recognition.
I did what I did because all life is sacred. But when the object of your actions does not share that belief, I fear I have served the present by sacrificing the future.
Yep, but we can still continue in the discussion because I'm pretty sure you know the reference that I'm referring to on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Lanier's comment is rather prophetic as far as sacrificing the future in order to serve the present. Yet, in some ways, without that sacrifice of the future beyond that might have been lost as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, in some ways, he's sacrificing the future, but he's also saving it. And at least at this point in his journey, he is holding fast to the principle of life being sacred.
Which is a Minbari cornerstone.
Which is a Minbari cornerstone. Yeah. I mean, that they will take life, but there has to be a solid moral justification for it, especially amongst the priest caste, religious caste. And they still haven't quite found Londo and G'kar yet.
Not quite.
Nope. With the emotional roller coaster that we've been on, they do at least leave us on a more humorous note.
Yeah.
That they close off with Londo and G'kar obviously being rescued.
Yep.
And what I said before about whenever those two are together, it's magic. Here's some magic.
Hey! In here! We got two more! Ah! Get that spanner over here fast!
There, you see? I'm going to live.
So it would seem. Well, it is an imperfect universe. bastard. Monster.
Fanatic?
Murderer.
You are insane!
And that is why we'll win.
Go be the ambassador to Babylon 5, they say. It will be an easy assignment. I hate my life.
So do I.
Shut up!
What a way to end. What a way to end.
Yeah, as the camera's pulling back up through the hole that's been blown in the top of the lift tube, and you hear Londo, shut up.
And then the fade.
Yep.
Then the fade to the closing credits. Oh, it was a wonderful episode. Of the completely standalone episodes, it was certainly one of the best, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was
of the strictly standalones.
I thought so too. I don't understand. Well, and as a standalone episode, I guess it speaks for itself. It just for the sake of drama. But at this point, I've gotten used to things fitting into the puzzle somewhere. There doesn't seem to be anything that happens that doesn't have an implication for the future. And I really didn't make a connection with Carlson and how that fits in to the storyline. Maybe it's just drama for the sake of drama.
I think, drama for the sake of drama, and don't forget, this is, 1995-ish, I think?
Yeah.
1993 World Trade Center bombing.
Right. Well, not only that, though, but if we hadn't had Carlson, we couldn't have had all those really neat moments with Londo and Lanier.
Right.
And Londo and G'kar in the elevator. And so, I don't know, maybe it was a plot device to bring out those stories.
Like I said, it wasn't a lot of big story or big arc, but there was a good deal of just character and relationship development and exploration throughout the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that directly does affect the bigger story.
Yes.
And at points it'll give us areas where we can make contrasts. A good episode, a fun one to watch, and I have to say, still relevant today when you look at the things that are going on in the world right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, whether it's other places outside in the world or just within our own country. And unfortunately, it seems like on too many college campuses today. But we'll save that for a different podcast.
Sounds good.
Oh. So your thoughts, sir?
Oh, I think I've summed it up already. It was a fun episode.
Yep.
Just putting the puzzle pieces in place.
Yeah, that it was. The only problem I had with the episode, and this is the geek side of me coming, is, like you said, that was one heck of a big bomb.
Uh-huh.
How in the world did this guy build it and get it on the fusion reactor without someone finding it or seeing it? It took a small crew to get it out.
Yeah, it'd have been a very short episode if he'd gotten caught. Obviously, he works on a station, and he seems to know how to circumvent certain security protocols.
Right, but you're still hiding something the size of a small bus.
Yeah, it was a huge... Well, I don't know about a bus, maybe a Cadillac, but...
Like one of those little transporter shuttle buses.
Yeah, it was, I was really surprised. I wouldn't think you'd need something quite that big.
No, that is a big reactor, though.
Yeah, a big reactor, but a small
heavily
breach.
Shielded and heavily shielded.
And that,
a lot of it, I think, is just probably just trying to get through the breach. But the rest of the story is certainly good enough that I didn't have a hard time suspending belief.
No, not
during
at all.
The story.
Not at all.
So, what do we have next?
Next,
A Day in the Strife.
Ah, yes.
The Return of Talon.
Mm-hmm.
That is standalone-ish in some ways, but connected in others, shall we say?
Yeah.
Another very interesting episode.
It is. And we'll be talking about that next time on the Babylon
We will certainly
Project
talking about
podcast.
that. Yes. Well, we've been chatting out this for quite some time now, so I think we're probably at a good point to wrap it up. I guess the shortest thing for me to say is, yes, we're back.
Good.
Oh. And I don't know what to do with our closing here, sir, because I was about to ask, no boom today, and...
Oh, contraire, there was boom today.
Or I could say there was no boom today, but there were booms today.
Yeah, several booms.
Lots of booms.
Yeah, kind of centered, the whole story was centered around boom today.
Booms. Yeah, as soon as Susan might say at some point, boom. Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I can almost guarantee you there will be boom tomorrow.
There's always boom tomorrow.
Exactly.
Without fail.
You got it. And folks, do keep us up to date on what you're doing and your thoughts on the show. Listen to the wonderful lady at the end on how to get into contact with us.
There you go.
All right. Good night, folks.
Good night.
Podcast terminated. Thank you for listening to the Babylon Project podcast. You can email Raul and Jim at the Babylon Project podcast at gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at the Babylon Project Podcast. On the internet, we are at babylonprojectpodcast.wordpress.com. To subscribe to the podcast, you can find us on iTunes, or you can subscribe to the RSS feed on the webpage.